Today's video is going to be the conversion from these manual brakes over to power brakes here on my '69 Corvette. So let's take a look at what you need to do for the conversion. The first thing you're going to want to do is take a look at the brackets and notice the differences between them. Okay, so this one here on the left is painted black. It's all cleaned up and ready to go. This one is the original one that came out of my '69 Corvette. And it's a 4-speed, so it's got the clutch here on the side. You can see this one over here was out of an automatic because it's got this big pedal here. So this was originally set up for manual brakes. This one here is for the power brakes. And you can see the difference in the bracket where these holes are located. Okay, so I've got, on this one here, I've got marked where I need to drill the holes so that the brake booster will line up. Okay, so that's the main difference right there. The other thing that you'll need to do, and what you can do, I just flipped this upside down on here and just kind of scribed around the hole down here. But you know, you can just measure right off of these, and I'll give you that measurement actually right now in case you don't have the booster ready yet. Maybe you haven't ordered a booster. Maybe you don't have, you know, one of these brackets here. I mean, I could just pull this pin out of here, and I could take the clutch pedal off, and I could put it on this bracket and just use this one. But I've already got this one assembled, cleaned and greased, and it's painted. It's ready to go. So I'm just going to drill those holes and call it good. Let me find my calipers here. But it's about 90 millimeters. Okay, from center to center, okay, which is also 3.5 inches. Okay, now the other thing you want to look at, these two holes here and here, okay, on the power brakes, you have this bracket goes inside of here like that, okay? But on your manual brakes, so you can see this thing is a lot smaller because it mounts up on the first hole, okay? And the reason it mounts up on the first hole is because you have this bar that goes in on the upper hole, and that's what then goes into your master cylinder, which makes a lot of sense because for manual brakes you want the most leverage you can get, and by placing this further up on the shaft of the brake rod, by placing this further up on this brake lever, you're getting a little more leverage, okay? But it's reversed on the power brakes, okay? So your brake booster comes down and it mounts up on the lower hole, and then this thing mounts up on the hole up there. So if you're just gonna do the conversion, you're gonna need to buy this lever for your brake switch. So it's a little bit longer than the one that will come off of your car, like that there. The other thing that you'll have to do is over here, you gotta take these square nuts off. I'm just gonna use an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, and I'm just gonna cut those spot welds right off of there. So you gotta get rid of those. Okay, we got the holes up here drilled out, and I just used a step drill bit like this. Okay. And I got the square nuts cut off of the back there. So that means the bracket's pretty much ready to go. All I gotta do is just mount this on here for my brake switch. Then we can start working on the firewall. Okay, that thing fit right on there perfectly. No problems at all. We got our pin there in the lower hole. And that looks nice. Now when you're putting it in, this this bracket kind of moves around. You can kind of bend it and work it around a little bit to fit these studs. That's a nice thing about the step drill bits too, is you can use one of those if you need to open a hole up a little bit to get it in there. But this one slipped right in, so I didn't really have to finagle around with it too much. But you can see the old square hole there where it used to mount up. So not too difficult, not too bad at all. Okay, let's take a look on the inside of the car here and take a look and see. All right. So you can see this metal plate here that's kind of riveted on the underside of the firewall here. It's already got the provisions in it for the power brakes. So we don't have to drill through any metal. All we got to do is drill through the fiberglass on the front side. So I just made this template here that will match up with our booster and where the center point is for this thing here. So we got to drill a hole for this to go through the firewall, and we got to drill the new holes in the firewall for these upper bolt holes. So I've got the bottom holes lined up because we know those aren't going to change. So those will stay just as they are. And now you can see the two upper holes we got to drill, and then we'll drill that center hole. So I'm gonna just drill like a small pilot hole first, and then I'm gonna take the template off and look at it, make sure it looks just right in the way I want it. Okay, if we did everything correctly, the two little pilot holes that I drilled here, they should be perfectly center, which as you can see, they're centered with the holes below them. So they will end up in that open channel in that metal that's behind here that already has the provision for this booster. And then this is the center point here for the hole that's going to be in the middle. So I used my template, and I just kind of scribed a line right around the circle where my template was. And I know that everything's going at least fairly well, because if I reach on the inside here, I can feel where the metal is opened up. Basically the provisions that are already in there for these power brakes. You can see the little hole there that I made for the pilot is right about the center where that big hole would be. So you could probably just follow right along that and just cut that whole piece right out. So I think that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. And I got my holes drilled at the top, and you can see they were right at the top of the metal, right where the provisions would have been. So at least at this point, I know everything's going well anyhow. So I think, I'm not really sure how I'm going to cut that out. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my drill. And I got just a tiny little drill bit on the end of it. And I'm gonna follow along that metal, right along the curvature of that, and just put a bunch of holes in it, and then just connect the dots with my little Dremel tool. Got all those little holes drilled there. So now I should just be able to follow right along that. So I cut that out, got that piece there. I literally just used the drill bit. I put a slightly larger drill bit on than what I started with. I just put that drill bit in there. I started up at the top here with the drill bit, put it in, ran it, and just started pulling it down along the metal. And then I started up here on this side and did the same thing. And just basically used the side of the drill bit to just saw through it. I mean, it's only fiberglass and it's super thin, so I figured why even bother with the Dremel or anything like that. So you can see that's really thin. It's probably only, what, 1/8 of an inch. So that wasn't too bad. There we go. So we got her setting in there. And it completely covers the old hole that was there. So you don't have to patch anything. There's no need for any fiberglass work. Probably help to put some sort of a gasket or a seal down in there so that you don't get any water down in there. But So that hole that was in there fit perfectly. So just follow right around that hole, or that, you know, that's in the already in the metal. So perfect. Okay. So there we go. We got the boosters in, the pedals are in. You can see we got the arm there from the booster is connected to the brake pedal, and it wasn't really too bad. Now it's a little easier in this car because the dash is all tore out, you know, and I don't have everything on the engine compartment yet. The steering column's out of it, you know, and I don't have some of the other things, so it was easy to get in there. So probably if you have a completed car, it'd be a little more difficult. But I still got to pull that booster out and clean it all up and paint it. So I got to pull all this back out anyway. So I'm not too worried about getting it all bolted up. But not too bad. So I guess that's pretty much it for this video. There's really not a whole lot left to show. So I hope that helped you out, and we'll see you in the next video.